Good morning, brothers and sisters in Christ. We are at Monday, and it's the 19th of May, I do believe. And today, I've chosen a verse from the book of Psalms, and this one is very well known to Christians, atheists, agnostics, and fans of Coolio, and so on and so on. But as it reads in the King James Version, Psalms chapter 3, verse 4 says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." And I know that you've heard that in some form or another. And briefly, I'm going to read it in its English Standard. "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." Almost exact translation. New Living Translation words it a bit different. "Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Your rod and your staff protect and comfort me." NLT leaves out reference to death there. But and I rarely do praise the New Living Translation over the King James, but I do like their emphasis on "your rod and your staff protect and comfort me." And what I want to share about that is something I was talking to a pastor friend of mine who explained the concept of how shepherds will not only use their staff, but also their rod, not only to protect. I apologize for the ambient noise. I'm sitting here waiting for that guy to be a little quieter. But I was in fact walking through the valley of the shadow of death in 2010 after a very bad car accident. And this verse rings especially true to me, especially relevant to me, because even though I was clinically dead, I was experiencing something. And I'm not going to dig deep into it at this point. We can talk about that privately, or maybe in the future when we start the live broadcast, we'll do an entire live stream of God Hour. That might be a topic one day. But in any case, though I was walking through the valley of the shadow of death, I feared no evil, for there was a presence with me. Anyway, like I was saying, in the old days, the shepherd would often have a lamb straight from the flock, and he would gently hook it with the crook of the staff. You can see the staff and the hook on the end, and lead it back to the flock, gently, lovingly. But the rod, on the other hand, would not only use it for the wolves and predators trying to attack the flock. If necessary, the shepherd would break the leg of that lamb, and while that may sound a bit cruel, he would also, he would follow up by picking up that lamb, holding it to his bosom, cradling it in his arms, and bring that lamb back to the flock, bring it back home, and mend that lamb's broken leg. So the rod and the staff were used to enforce that lamb stayed safe, stayed with the flock. That lamb were insistent on going away from the flock. Sometimes it took harsh actions to protect the lamb. So even though he inflicted pain on the lamb, he nursed it back to health. And this is what God did for me. And I can certainly testify that that's something he will do. Because at that time of the accident, for which nobody else was hurt, mind you, it was just we'll get into it. It was not a DUI or anything like that. It was probably a seizure I'd experienced while driving, or possibly just pure exhaustion. But God broke me in the body. Fortunately, he left my brain intact. There was no brain damage, but this was broken, organs were broken, cheekbones were broken, jaw was broken. You could tell the nose was broken, obviously. And that's just the face. A lot more bones were broken, but fortunately, God also mended me. He brought me back to health. To this day, I rarely need an assistant device to walk. Back to you often see me running. It's my job to do what I do. So that's our verse of the day. Psalms 23:4. Now the quote I picked for today, I wanted to pick something about courage. And there's so many really good ones, I had no idea. But as is my wont, I found one from Winston Churchill. It may not have a direct correlation with the verse of the day other than the concept of courage, but Winston Churchill said, "Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen." Very beautiful quote. Very admirable man. Would that I had a chance to meet him. If I were to go back in history, meet anybody from modern history, it would probably be Winston Churchill. So let's try for a rhyme of the day. I didn't compose this rhyme, but as it so happens, I experienced this yesterday. But Widespread Panic sings a song called "Makes Sense to Me." And the first verse of that song is, "I was talking to a homeless drunk about religion. And he said it's all I got, but it ain't much. And the way I feel is that these days, I'd rather have a gun than a crutch." And I would argue I'd rather have a crutch than a gun in many cases. But the fact is, I was talking to a homeless drunk, and therefore that rhyme stood significant to me. Anyway, we're pushing 10 minutes here. I need to get ready. I'm pulling a double shift today. I hope you all have a great day. I'm planning on it. So, see you in the morning. God bless you all.